Hello, everyone. This is Maryann from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are you, wherever you are in the world when you're watching? A huge shout out to you. Thank you for your feedback on my global predictions over the next 3 months, where I looked at a range of serious matters that might arise, including the war between Israel and Hamas. So I want to follow that back up today. We've had more things unfolding, and it is quite worrying, I know, for my viewers. Before I start off, so I will do this, and I will also look at the voice referendum in Australia, which takes place on 14th of October, our time, Australian time. So it's really will be the 15th for my North American viewers. We are 15 hours in front of you. However, it's very close to the eclipse. The unfolding of the war in the Middle East is very, very in the shadow of a solar eclipse. So a very worrying time. Now, before I start this, there's been a lot of nonsense, terrible things on social media. My channel's not a place for you to come and vent your spleen, so to speak. And so anything, accusing anybody of anything, and particularly shooting me, the messenger, I don't appreciate that. So I'm just telling you that. Before I start, I want to make clear what my position is, and I'm going to do it through a couple of quotes. On his way to the Middle East, reporter Ali Velshi said this: "Friends, as the sun gets set to rise on the Holy Land and I cross into Israel, my head is in the story, but my heart is with the beleaguered and long-suffering people of Israel, Palestine, and Gaza, who yearn for and deserve lives of peace. If you pray, pray for all of them." Okay, so the other thing I want to read to you, if I can find it, is an IDF, Israeli Defense Force member, as he prepared to get ready to go to into battle. Just a little bit of that. It's a pinned tweet on my profile on X, which of course is so now unreliable for anything indeed objective about anything really. And that, of course, is I think has always been intentional on behalf of the owner of he's not new, the owner of X now. So here's the quote from the soldier getting ready to go to war. It is in Hebrew, but you can press the translate button and get the full text on my profile. It's 9:30 in the evening now. 2 hours ago, I came back from abroad. I'm already in uniform and armed on my way south to the reserves. So he's a reservist. I'm going to fulfill my duty as a general officer of the brigade responsible for protecting the border with Jordan and Egypt. Like everyone else, I have no idea how long I will be recruited and what day will be born. As with all the countless times I've served in the reserves, this time too, as long as I'm in uniform, I won't write my personal opinions here. But just before I silence myself, I would like to say some of my thoughts. There is nothing in the world that can justify the massacre of hundreds of innocent people. The hundreds of drownings are subhumans of the lowest kind. The same goes for those who support and justify them. Remember, this is a translation. Now is a time of war. The first thing right now is to protect the home and country, which Israel should and must do. They're my words. Let's not get confused. This is not a war without choice. It could have been prevented, but now it is too late. Now there is no choice but to take up arms and defend the citizens of Israel. I am going to defend my country from our enemies. Our enemies are murderous terrorist organizations controlled by Islamic extremists. He's referring to Hamas. The massacre of innocent Israelis must not be answered by the massacre of innocent Palestinians. It is important to remember the Palestinian people are not our enemy. And isn't this the voice of reason? Millions of Palestinians who live here with us between the sea and Jordan are not our enemy. Just like most Israelis, so do most Palestinians just want to live their lives in peace and dignity. So if a reservist, an Israeli Defence Force reservist can say that, so can we. So here I want to just get down to drilling down on the questions that I've had over the last couple of days. Will the remaining Israeli hostages be freed? They do include some Americans. We've also, other countries have also had their citizens caught up in this as well, including my own country. Will a ceasefire be negotiated by the Americans, the UN, however it happens? When is it time to go in there and negotiate a ceasefire? Now, here's the more prickly questions I want to get to. There have been reports that Wagner mercenaries, Russian Wagner mercenaries, trained Hamas. Now, Hamas is the terrorist organization the Israeli soldier reservist is referring to. Why did Israeli intelligence fail so badly? There are reports that Netanyahu had been warned by the army for some time leading up to this, that there was increased activity. It's not just Hamas. There are some who think that ISIS and Al Qaeda have joined with Hamas, infiltrated indeed, if you want to use that word. There are rockets being fired from Syria onto Israel, and there are rockets being, as I predicted, from Hezbollah in Egypt. The country's a little bit closer to the African continent. So I don't see it. I really don't see it widening beyond that. But I want to know what's afoot here. Let's see what we can dig down to. Then I want to get on to the a constitutional referendum in Australia. I promised another reading. This is the third time I've read on it. Unfortunately, as long ago as, I don't know, earlier this year, I keep getting that the no vote gets up. This is a referendum to change our constitution to recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders and allow them a voice to be listened to the Parliament of Australia and to the executive government. And if the no vote wins, which unfortunately all the polls are predicting, what happens then? Where do we go from here? It's important also to look quickly. So dig in, get your coffee. We'll dig in and see if the House the Republicans can elect a speaker. All right, because everything is stalled until they do. But first to Israeli, the tragedy, I don't know, I don't have the words, tragedy that is unfolding in Israel and also in the Gaza Strip as well. Let's have a look. Will the remaining hostages be freed? That's where I want to go. Will the remaining hostages be freed? Let's keep going. Let's see if what I can see. It's not even pleasant to tune in clairvoyantly into this. And these extremists, militants, Hamas, whoever else is involved, Hezbollah, most likely ISIS and Al Qaeda, who's operating in Syria. It would be that group, ISIS. How barbaric are these people? Okay, so let's just go. Not all. I'm hearing not all. Show me, will the hostages be freed? It's not pleasant reading on these subjects. If anyone thinks that anyway, you're all very concerned, and that's why I do it. So these are the two signifier cards. the Tower card and the Eight of Swords, which would suggest that their predicament, or they're hostage, the state of their current predicament, or it's not the right word. You know what I mean. Now, the foundation of the reading is the Wheel of Fortune, which would suggest there's going to be a change. These cards can't be taken literally in a situation like this. This is my interpretation. The Wheel of Fortune would suggest there is a change for the better. In the past, we have the Page of Swords, and this, of course, can be treasonous. It can be the spies in the camp. I do believe when we get to the question around how did Israeli intelligence fail, I do believe some of those sources they've been relying on did let them down, did flip. The Chariot would suggest so something is going to unfold very quickly as I read this, and I get the abuse of power. So I just want to warn people that not all will be well, according to this. Okay, this is an abuse of the worst kind, isn't it? The here and now, we have the Queen of Pentacles, stability, and of course my card for the American president. The other thing I do want to debunk in the strongest terms are the Republican MAGA talking points, extremist talking points. Okay, extremist talking points. Where does extremist leave us? Leads us right here. Extremist. The talking points that somehow the $6 billion in oil, in Iran's oil money that Trump quarantined in his time as president, Iran's money frozen, which was frozen. Biden, in exchange for the American prisoners that Iran was holding, has said that it could go to aid, to medicine and humanitarian aid. Not a penny of that had been spent by the time that this attack on Israel occurred. Please, you dimwits that keep pushing that talking point that Biden gave $6 billion of American money to Iran, you dimwits, you utter disgusting dimwits, okay? A time like this and you're pushing this crap, okay? Not a penny has been of that. It's frozen still. And when it does go to humanitarian and medical aid in Iran, it will be monitored by the US Treasury Department. Okay, so we have here stability being brought back into this situation by the Americans, and President Biden has been very clear. They stand with Israel to help them defend themselves. And he has also said within accordance of international law and human right law. Okay, that doesn't mean Netanyahu can completely razz Gaza to the ground and kill 2.2 million people, half of which are children in the Gaza. Doesn't mean that at all. It means the Americans will give Israel whatever they need to defend their country. Okay, so fortifying the Iron Dome, that wards off the rocket attacks, whatever is needed, more ammunition, for example. Now we have here in the hopes and fears, very graphic image that we all fear, and we have the Eight of Wands here. So the Hierophant, international law here, again, Hamas don't really care. They don't care about murdering Israelis, and they don't care that innocent Palestinians will be held to account for their brutal actions. And we get hope. So that's interesting. Well, as in terms of this situation, so we get the partisanship, but we get moving forward. There is a way out of this, which I think that the Americans have already, President Biden has already garnered unified European and Western leaders, again singing off the same hymn sheet, condemning the actions of the Hamas and other terrorist organisations for these brutal attacks. Will they come home? Not all, but yes. And it looks like there's going to eventually have, as I predicted earlier in the week, that there will be UN and joint negotiators brought in to negotiate the release of these hostages. Okay, it's a situation that has no easy answers here when there are innocent lives. Innocent lives at stake. So, will a ceasefire be negotiated? 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 Will a cease for the world card just wanted to pop out there? Will a ceasefire be negotiated? Review isolation. Again, there could be these sanctions brought back on Iran and others that have supported. We get moving forward here. The Knight of Cups in the past. There could even have been negotiations already ongoing. We have the past here. This is almost like a terrible loop. It's very hard to stay positive about the state of the world when you see this. We do get good cards, the Magician card, a manifestation. Look, we do get particularly three parties: the Americans, the UN, maybe some others here. In Gaza, the Doctors Without Borders, they're all stuck in there. There's a lot that's a lot at stake here. The High Priestess, I think, in these negotiations, again, President Biden was slammed as to why he wasn't all over television and yada, yada, yada. They've been busy behind the scenes, the Americans, very busy. The hopes and fears, we get loss, walking away, and we get judgment. It's inevitable. That's an inevitable change. So, yes, there will be a ceasefire and likely going to involve some kind of package here. And it looks like President Biden will be the cooler head here. So we get the star card. Now, whether that's money to Israel or money I don't know. It's inevitable that a ceasefire is negotiated, and I think the Americans will play a role. Base of the pack, as I said, we have these two cards. So I'm hopeful that a ceasefire is not too far away. Okay, now to the investigative type of questions. Now to these ones. Did the Wagner mercenaries help train Hamas and other terrorist organizations to launch this attack? Some say the worst ever in Israel's history. Did the Wagner mercenaries, did Russia and the Wagner mercenaries, they are one in the same. The Wagner mercenaries are Putin's own private army. Did Russia and the Wagner mercenaries help train Hamas and other terrorist organizations in their attack to attack Israel? Did Wagner mercenaries? They should check the movement by sea. That's what I'm getting. Almost like a clandestine, something around a sea. Sorry, my dog's just whining. Something around a sea is important here. So they may have trained them in fighting methods, ways to fight, and we get the overseas ship waiting for one ship to come in. So that's what I'm getting, a pull to the sea, that they may be trained around sea. We get the Page of Wands. So we're going to hear about it. In the past, we get the Ten of Wands. That's just the ending of an old cycle. We do get the Sun card. That's probably the strongest yes. That's crowning this reading. And the outcome was the Strength card. I think it's pretty yes. There are a lot of yes cards. And then we get the skill apprentice, the work card. I'm going to say yes. Yes, they did. These cards were, sometimes no doubt about it, they did. Okay, so when this comes to light, I wonder where the dice will fall on those that are spouting Putin's propaganda points around Ukraine. Okay, so why? And this I want to know here. Why Netanyahu is responsible for this failure. He was too busy water bombing his own citizens for protesting his authoritarian moves to usurp the authority of the Israeli Supreme Court. He was warned, according to the Israel Times, by the army, by his own defence force, that there appeared to be some activity growing with Hamas. So why did, of course, we all know Netanyahu would like Gaza to go away. He said they should all leave Gaza to avoid being killed. Well, I'm not sure where they're going to go. Some have said there's a backdoor through to Egypt. So, those saying, well, go and just get going over to Egypt. The irony of it all. Okay, so social media it's not a place to be with the unfolding. I stick to mainstream sources, however diabolical they can be. In this sort of situation, don't rely on, social media accounts that will peddle extremism. Okay. All right. Show me clearly, why did Israeli intelligence fail so badly on this? Why did Israeli intelligence fail on this? Why did somebody's sick in bed? Illness. Not sure what that's got to do with things. Anyway, sometimes these images come to fruition later on. We get to be clear about what's going on. Why did Israelis? The guardrails failed. Complacency as well. And Netanyahu and the Israelis preoccupied with Netanyahu's push to gain control of the Supreme Court, and so he can expunge his corruption investigation and charges. So show me disunity there. The guardrails fell. Show me why did Israeli intelligence fail? The lightning speed of the attack, they didn't foresee it. Long range missiles as well. Everything, it failed. Holding back information. So yes, I think those pundits and experts that say that some of the the sources that Israelis rely on, they withheld the information. They flipped. They withheld the information. Very clear in those two cards. Some could have even been paid off. Goodness gracious me. Paid to withhold the information. The Sun card, full illumination, it's in the past. Okay, so deliberate cloak of darkness. Now here we have the Hierophant, the High Court, Israel's even Supreme Court, the Hierophant. This is a message and a warning on these sort of authoritarian moves and disunity of the civilian population here. Again, not so very long ago, the Israeli protesters and Palestinian protesters too were being hosed with water, very full speed water, to break up the peaceful protests. It was a terrible sight to see in Israel. Secrets they withheld. Now we get this every time I see the High Priestess, I go, there's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer here. Russia, why would they get involved? Very clear, the Wagner mercenary trained the terrorists, obviously to weaken Biden, to take the focus off Ukraine, to basically sow chaos again in the world in the lead up to the American elections in 2024. It's more than this too. It's more than this. There are really, it's almost like the intelligence has been infiltrated. So we have here, it's over, the 10 of Swords, a brutal downfall, and we get anxiety. Gosh, I think out of everything, aside from, except the hostage situation, this is gravely worrying here, because it looks like people withheld the information on purpose, may have been paid off. Hopes and fears, aligning with the terrorists. And now we have a crossroads for Israel. Two of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the guardrails needing to come up again. Israel has to look at. I mean, many Israelis have said Netanyahu has to be out after this, has to be gone. Well, you can see the cards, can't you? The outcome here as to why it did. All right, let's get on to the voice. So there will be release of hostages, perhaps not all, I'm afraid to say. There will be a ceasefire negotiated. Yes, Wagner, very clear, Wagner mercenaries, the Hamas terrorists had training, and the intelligence failed deliberately because people withheld information and also may have been paid off. I'm just going to quickly look at Gaza, 2.2 million people in Gaza, and half of those are children. They haven't had any elections for the last 17 years. And I know all the history. You don't need to tell me. I don't need a history book written on this, because it is far, far too complex. All right. So, and remember, if you're going to pray, pray for all innocent people, Israelis and Palestinians alike, innocent people. All right, Gaza, show me what's to become of Gaza. Will Netanyahu's defense minister has said they will lay siege to Gaza, meaning they will wipe it out. Siege to Gaza. Show me what is to become of Gaza and the innocent people within its borders. Okay, there's a new plan and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. All right, movement forward. Families, innocent families who do come and go and work in Israel. We have the World card, the ending of something and the beginning of something new. We have the King of Pentacles, money. We get commitments and contracts. So I think also with Blinken going over there, the American Secretary of State, and the UN coming out as useless as it is. I shouldn't say that. But basically, I think Israel has said you can defend yourself. You can go into Gaza and find the Hamas and those terrorists. You can do what you need to do to defend your country, but you cannot murder innocent people. Okay, so I think this is the way it comes out. Retreat and wounded. It's going to be bloody, walking away from loss, and it will be a siege, unfortunately, and ultimately the West will have to get involved. Okay, let's just put it like this. There are other forces operating here. I've got a ringing in my ear, strong ringing in my ear. There are other moneyed forces here behind this conflict. And there's going to be a lot of death in Gaza. All right, we have the Queen of Cups and the Tower. So there will be innocent lives. Well, there already are. Innocent lives lost, have been lost, will be lost, are lost in Gaza. All right, now I'm going to move to the voice, and I'm going to just flip very quickly to some astrology here. I just want to say, don't shoot the messenger. I can't give you an answer that you might want to hear. Intuitively, I've thought for a long time that the voice won't get up. It would take a miracle. Now, I'm not saying a miracle isn't possible, but at this point in time, it's almost as if just do everybody a favor. It's going to create some long-lasting issues in Australia for a long time. Okay, so immediately I've got the Australian Federation chart, and that's 1901 when Australia became a federation of states, and the outer ring is set to Canberra, and at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday the 14th. Now, why I did that was because I wanted to look at the energies. Canberra is our national capital, like Washington. That's where all our elected representatives are. That mirrors what's been going on in Australia, which is so totally divided about this. It's been horrendous. For me, listening to the misinformation that's coming through, it's just been horrendous. It's been highly inflammatory, highly hurtful, and of course, what you would expect, race baiting. I can only imagine how Aboriginal people would feel on the other side of things. There's not consensus broadly amongst Aboriginal people. The latest poll puts it at, I think, at around 59%, was 80%. It's dropping now. I guess Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people could rightly be feeling disenchanted, disenfranchised. There's been all sorts of criticisms around the process. Normally, in the run-up to a constitutional change, we'll hold a series of constitutional conventions. That hasn't been done. The only constitutional convention was a consultation with Indigenous people, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, in 2016 under a different government. Nothing else other than that. So all of this could have been sorted out through conventions. I'm one for process, having worked in government, and I have to say, I think the process of this has been pretty terrible, and a lot of this could have been avoided with more time and proper conventions. When I say conventions, that involved both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people over a series of months, if not years, in the lead up to a change. Even a 12-month period of constitutional conventions would have been preferable. with experts really batting away some of this terrible misinformation, and we would have all been brought at the same rate of knowledge. So anyway, don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger here. Back to the astrology. Anyone who knows about astrology will notice the green lines here. You don't want to see green lines in a chart, because they're called quincunxes, and that means that there's very little agreement, very little planets aren't talking to one another. They're not in opposition and working it out, win or lose or whatever. Let's have a go at seeing who's going to come out on top. They're not in squares to one another. Let's have the talks here, and then let's achieve something. There's not the harmonious flows. It's just simply let's just say a non-harmonious flow here. Never the twain shall meet. And one of the most important of these quincunxes is from the moon in our first house in the Federation of Australia chart, going all the way over to the sun in Libra. The moon, of course, can be tumultuous, can be the passage of our soul, and the sun in Libra, of course, in the sixth house here of service to others, health, ill health. That's where all these transiting planets are congregated over Black Moon Lilith. Passion, sometimes extremism in the sixth house. So up in the ninth house, we have this other quincunx from Neptune in Gemini, the communication, something coming into form, the quincunx up to our old friend transiting Pluto in the ninth house. Well, the lack of facts, the conspiracy theories, the misinformation, what is being brought into form, we're seeing a level of corruption, whichever way that may fall. And Folu also is up here, the asteroid, or the centaur, I shouldn't say, not an asteroid. He shot himself in the foot with the poison arrow. Also we get this quincunx from transiting Pluto over to natal Chiron and Mercury. Again, the communication has been just terrible here. The only other quincunx, which is probably the most important here, is from the North Node in the eighth house, bringing something to a close, through to Mars in the seventh house of relationships, open enemies. This is, I'm just going to stop it here. It's not something I could go on, but I just wanted to show and share with you those quincunx aspects, the North Node through to Mars. I mean, it says it all. This was something that was always going to be very, very challenging being held at this time for Australia. And it's the feeling I've had. Nothing's right about this. Nothing's right about this, and that's all I can say. And you can unpack that any way you want. So I'm going to pull some cards. I wish it were another way. I wish I was feeling another way. Okay, so let's change the deck, given this was the one I used on Israel and Hamas. Let's change it here to that was right away. This is this Hanson Roberts. Okay, I just want to see very quickly. This is getting on this reading. Will the yes vote win the referendum? Let's be positive. If that's your way of thinking, will the yes vote? Ooh, Queen of Swords, logic is has jumped out. So let's be logical. Let's leave our feelings aside. This changing the constitution is a serious matter. So let's have a look. And the logic is, if we can't find a way forward, reconciliation between white Australia and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders will be set back decades. All right, so will the yes vote win the referendum? Will the yes vote win the referendum? Getting the Four of Swords. Okay, so we get Six of Swords moving out of troubled waters, and the Page of Rods speaking, talking. Okay, there will need to be a wash up here, some serious soul searching. The foundation of the reading is defending oneself, and that's pretty much what the Yes campaign has had to do. The past, we have the High Priestess. There's been, again, like everything, forces. The Chinese were even meddling in this with misinformation, seeds of chaos sown. The Two of Rods, something coming to fruition in time, not now, but in the future. And I don't even want to go there. Suffice to say that sovereignty is on the table the next time round. And the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles, families, money, inheritance. Not everyone who votes no is racist. Please, if you're voting no and you've done your due diligence, it's your right to vote any way you want. And right now, people are concerned about paying their mortgage, about putting food on the table. Four of Pentacles, again, this insecurity here. Also the misinformation. They're going to come for your land and your house. And the environment round is the King of Cups. So I want to be very clear. The yes vote has run a very graceful, honourable campaign, an emotionally mature campaign. The Death card is in the hopes and fears, and the outcome is an Ace of Cups. Okay, so that's new starts, and there's the Four of Swords, clarified by the Four of Swords. It's retreating away from a new start. And the King of Swords, planning and strategy. We've got the Star of Hope, and unity, and the Two of Cups. Five of Cups here, Three of Pentacles. It's not... Okay, so it's probably going to be a no. There could be a miracle occur. Hope if you're a yes voter, I hope so for you. But we also get a new start coming to fruition in time. Okay, can you just clarify this Ace of Cups? Clarify this Ace of Cups. And we get the World. Endings and new beginnings. And that's what Australia does. This is very much about our identity and having to confront and in the wash-up and really look at what happened here. And we get the Queen of Pentacles, stability, and we get new starts. So very much the ending and a new start. Show me this Four of Swords, retreat, wounded in battle. The Ace of Rods. There will be new plans here after this is over. There will be people will pick themselves up. There will also be the lies, that other side of the equation, and also isolation. I think there if the no vote gets up, it's certainly not a win for those who conducted themselves so poorly with conspiracy theories and lies. All right, one last question, because I feel that I'm going to run out of time. I very, very quickly want to look at I asked this question before, can the Republicans elect a speaker outright with only Republican votes? Can the Republicans elect, show me clearly, can the Republicans elect a speaker with only Republican votes? That one wanted to come out, and we get the Three of Pentacles. It did actually come out upside down, but anyway. And the Republicans, that's coming together, working together, could be with Democrats. Can the Republicans elect a speaker only with Republican votes? The Empress card, the Hanged Man is at the foundation of the reading. Wheel of Fortune, change is in the past. The Hierophant, government, the thoughts. Now we have the lawmakers stepping forward. We have giving and receiving help and a new plan. We have moving out of troubled waters. And we have the final card is the Seven of Wands. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. And we get voter. Of the voter, this is not going down very well. I feel that they can move forward with help from the Democrats. Okay, so if they do elect someone with only Republican votes, it's not going to last long. I don't think they can. I think they need some Democrat votes. All right. I'm going to leave it there, right or wrong. Again, be civil, be gracious in your comments. No shooting the messenger just because you don't like the outcome of a prediction. I may be right, I may be wrong, and I am wrong sometimes. So keep it civil. Understand that this isn't a channel where you can troll me or any of my viewers. Okay, no trolling. Okay, or venting of your spleen. All right. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be back again soon with another read.